One states, imagine a movie that has no human thought, no enthusiasm, no understanding of real human emotions, and is purely based on what artificial intelligence knows about the human experience. Controversial or not, the limit for what AI is used for is reached when art is in the hands of robots and machines instead of us humans, especially art that serves as entertainment, like filmmaking. Recently, AI has completely evolved in areas like visual effects, script writing, and even the creation of synthetic actors. Some people see this as a big step in filmmaking, but it is very concerning on how the progression of artificial intelligence might affect creativity in the film industry and the individuals whose jobs could be taken over. This does not only affect how films are produced, but also how we define creativity, art, and originality. Artificial intelligence has been advancing extremely fast over the recent years. Chris Regina said, "If you can imagine where we might be a year or 18 months from now, I think in some ways it is probably what scares a lot of the industry because they can see where it sits today, and as much as they want to poke holes or be critical of it, they do realize that it will continue to be better." AI has the ability to do so much, especially in filmmaking. Studios are very quick to adopt the usage of AI into their films because it is a lot cheaper. You don't have to pay AI, and it is a lot faster. This is an alternative that a lot of studios that are under a lot of pressure to produce more and more content, especially for films made for streaming services. Solomon stated that if Disney, Warner, Universal, etc. can have AI make movies that are good enough to be profitable and they can take thousands of film workers off their balance sheets, they're going to do it. I would consider that bad. A lot of AI services are able to use existing films, screenplays, and performance without the consent of the artists or without making any revenue from it. BBC says that OpenAI, Google, and other tech companies are facing multiple lawsuits from writers, actors, and news organizations alleging their work was stolen to train AI without their consent. Studios like Paramount, Disney, and Universal, who own the copyright on movies and TV shows, have been urged by writers to do the same, though none has taken legal action. This means that AI is learning how to replace filmmakers by exploiting their work. A recent use of this was in Alien Romulus. It was a great movie watching it, but then there was one scene where they used Ian Holm. They CGI'd his face and his voice onto somebody else. So it was just completely not him, just stole his face and his voice, and he wasn't getting paid for it, and his family wasn't. And it was just really uncomfortable, and I thought offensive and disgusting to watch. Same thing with The Flash, which did use Christopher Reeve as Superman without any permission or anything. And this usage in The Flash looks extremely, extremely bad. I don't understand how it was a good idea. It's ethically terrible and made the film so much worse in quality. There are 5 major stakeholders: studios who are motivated by profit, filmmakers whose careers are at risk, the tech companies who develop and make profits from the AI tools they create, audiences who unknowingly watch AI-generated content or support the usage of artificial intelligence in film, and the labor unions like the WGA and the SAG-AFTRA, who are very passionate to protect human creativity. The individual filmmakers, especially ones starting off their careers as independent filmmakers, are very vulnerable. They do not have very much power in the studio-dominated industry. They are at a very large risk of being replaced. AI itself is not the only problem. The industry's mindset towards it is the biggest problem. There's been a large cultural shift where people have started to see movies as more of content rather than as art. There's a high demand for films to be produced quickly. This makes AI a very useful tool for studios to use. BBC reported that Hollywood has begun toying with new technology. The Oscar-nominated films Amelia Perez and The Brutalist used AI to alter voices. Adrian Brody won the Academy Award for Best Actor, even with the help of AI to fine-tune his accent when he spoke Hungarian in his starring role in The Brutalist. AI has even been used to de-age actors like Tom Hanks and Harrison Ford. But film is supposed to be art, not just content to release quickly as possible just to make money. AI can try its best to intimidate creativity, but it cannot truly give any of that personal depth that you don't see in a lot of large studio films very much anymore, sadly. We could be moving very quickly to a future with lower artistic motivation standards and people could end up not even being able to tell if they're watching something real or something that was generated by a program. An example of this was used also last year in a film called Late Night with the Devil. They used art in the background, and it's a really simple artwork. I have no idea why they used AI for it, because then again, it looks a little off. There's issues with it. That could have been an artist job that they were getting paid for, where they could have made something look way better than that and get paid for it and get to see their work in a movie. But no, they just used AI. There has not been a solution to this problem because there still isn't any clear legal standards on how AI should be used in the media. Also, a lot of people are in support of AI usage in film because people love innovation, and sometimes they don't think about its potential downsides. Society as a whole does not fully recognize that film is an art form, and creativity is an essential aspect of art. Imagine AI-generated music that does not sound like something anybody would want to listen to. No one wants to listen to fake instruments and vocals. It's the same amount of artistic integrity as AI in film does. My plan may sound simple, but it would have a monumental impact. The Academy should refuse to nominate or award any films that use AI scripts, visual effects, or performances. The Oscars are not the most important thing in the film industry. A lot of filmmakers don't even care about ever getting nominated, but the Oscars do get a lot of attention. A ton of people watch the Oscars, or at least keep track of them too. If the Academy released a public statement updating its eligibility rules, it would definitely inform a lot of people who are not aware of AI usage in film, or people who didn't see it as a bad thing. It would pressure large studios to avoid usage of AI so they could get nominated, and it would send a message around the world that real filmmaking requires human creativity that can't be replaced by a program. For example, BBC stated that OpenAI hosted an AI film festival in Los Angeles earlier this month. Marvel directors Joe and Anthony Russo told the Wall Street Journal they plan to invest $400 million to craft AI tools for filmmakers. These are very large directors. They made the highest grossing movie for a bit. Avatar is, again, but for a bit it was Endgame, which they directed. And I think that it's terrible that these people with such a high influence, because they did make the highest grossing movie, just want to make a program that just takes away all this humanity and just make that such a big part of the industry. Not a good thing at all. To make this happen, all the Academy has to do is change their submission guidelines. So in order for a film to be eligible, it has to be human-made. There is no legislation or anything needed. It would just be a standard that the Academy would have to set up on its own. This would not be hard for the Academy to do. They just ended up passing another rule. According to Variety, in a key procedural shift, Academy members are now required to view all nominated films within a category to be eligible to vote in the final round. This does not completely solve every problem. There will definitely be some studios or individuals who create films using AI, but those films will definitely end up getting way less support and attention. When the most viewed and discussed film awards ceremony in the world takes a stand up against AI, most people will end up reconsidering ever using it. This would also end up preserving filmmakers' jobs and protect artistic standards within the industry. Most filmmakers do not make films just to make awards, and because of this, a lot of people would think that changing the rules wouldn't reduce the harms at all, but that overlooks how influential the Academy is to the industry. The Oscars are the biggest film awards in the world, and a lot of studios shape their production and marketing strategies just so they can qualify. When the Academy introduced representation and inclusion standards back in 2020, major studios started to rethink cast and crew hires and more diverse storytelling. It was definitely considered a success, too. There could be a similar outcome with AI. If films that use AI-generated content are disqualified, studios would not risk using AI on films they hope would gain awards buzz, setting a standard that values creativity. While AI itself is not harmful, the way it is being adopted without clear regulations and consideration is very risky. If we want to protect creative integrity in filmmaking and make sure filmmakers don't end up losing their jobs, something needs to happen. Influence from a large part of the industry could completely shift standards in public opinion. AI is a very useful tool, but it should not replace the people who work hard to to make films meaningful. Thank you.